this week.
Go for it.
So let me share my screen. And all right. So I was contacted by with the folks in my old department who were looking at the video player that I created, the Alley Media Player, and they said, well, is there any way we could use that with Canvas? Now, the way my old unit uses Canvas is they actually have a, the Canvas is an LMS for anybody who's not in our world, learning management system. Well, the way that unit uses Canvas is they're actually iframing this little bit of their homebrewed CMS into the Canvas pages for student lessons. And this is somebody's test course, and they wanted to see how I could make video work. And so with Brian's magical 2 lines that point to a CDN or an unbundled collection of resources, I was able to add those script tags and then add my Alley Media Player tag and the YouTube iframe and get YouTube working my Alley Media Player with those couple lines inside of this homebrewed CMS that I'm no longer a part of actively developing. I didn't even have to know how they've worked it. And then because I couldn't stop there, I ended up also, since it points to the CDN, saying, oh, I can show them all the things they can use within their homebrewed CMS. And so instantly, with the magic of 2 lines, I now gave them access to all of our little card pieces, our tabs, the expand collapse, the charts and graphs, and then I showed them all of the icons that are available. So I thought this was really cool. I wanted to get them hooked on what we were doing, and I thought, you know, they asked for the video player. Here's my chance to show them that it is possible to put it in this system, a future system. And honestly, if we have access to the JavaScript files for our instance of the LMS, we could just do it straight from the LMS as well. So anything that we use in Hacks would now be used anywhere. So that was rainbow number 1. And rainbow number 2, let me pull up which one I want to start with. So rainbow number 2 is that I've been working on the redesign of our studio, which is the application that our art students use to submit their work and receive critique on it and discuss other people's work. And so I basically, in the last Hacks on Code, I showed these, this little progress donut that has like a profile image. By the way, I anonymized all of the student data with cat references because the person who made the mockups is not a fan of cats. So I figured this would be a great thing, except for now he hasn't gotten to see it and react to it, so I'm sad. But what you can see here are, I've added these cards, and these cards are going to look a lot like these cards. And that's the beauty of web components, is if I need to expand on something I've already done, I can just actually include it and create a new version of it that does something slightly different. So I was quickly able to create cards that matched his mock-up and these link pieces. And then I was also working on these profile images. You know, one of the nice things about these nav cards is that for accessibility purposes, your links are supposed to be short descriptive pieces of text, but sometimes you want to make an entire section clickable, like this entire piece, including the date that might be underneath it or additional information. And so that makes making an accessible link or an accessible button tricky, because then you say, well, if this is the link, how can I make all of this clickable? And so I found a little snippet of CSS that I could use that actually uses the after selector to draw a giant area for the link or for the button. so that it covers this arrow, it covers the subtext, so the whole thing's a button, but the text that the screen reader gets is only this part that's underlined. And so that's actually in this card component. So I worked on, I worked on that component, what that looks like. You can see here, it's called nav card. It's an extension of accent card. And there are nav card items, which, because these are magical and web componenting, I can use nav card item by itself if I don't want to use it as part of the accent card. And that's just that accessible piece of CSS that allows you to make a link cover the entire item. And you can see it works with links or buttons.
Yeah, now you're gonna have to apply that everywhere, because I was running into that with something and I was getting really annoyed.
I know. This is the beauty of it, is now nav card item is a thing. So I'll have to take a look and see what I can do to make it fit your use case once you throw that use case at me. But yeah, you can see here how you can do it without the little icon. You can even do it without the arrow icon. So it could be used in a lot of different use cases like that. The other piece of that is, because what happens with these is, with web components and with the process, is you take these big problems and you break them down into smaller problems until you have smaller and smaller reusable components. So I have these cards, I have this list, and then I broke the list down into these little pieces within the list. And within those lists, there's also this avatar piece, which we've had before, both as this paper avatar, and paper avatar is basically allowing you to have a unique icon generated or initials generated, or you can actually add an image as well. In order to do some of the work with the list item, I also added the ability to make one of these an icon. And there's a version of this that's been extended, LRN design avatar, and it adds my simple colors library. That's the library that ensures that when you pick an accent color, that the color contrast will be accessible, because it pipes in colors that are relative to the accent color you select. So here, this is using icons, using symbols, but all of that was related back to this piece. So as I was working on those things, the big piece of the rainbow that I wanted to unpack for us, or the last rainbow that I shat, is actually, I figured I should probably document all of this stuff that I've been doing. And I've been working with Storybook to make sure we update everything that we have. But these cards, a lot of what these cards do and what the avatars do, a lot of that can be controlled by CSS. And so I figured out this week that I could actually pipe in my CSS variables and make them knobs. So I can make this now 150 pigs. So this is our demo site to see what you can, what all you can use of our components. And you can, of course, adjust the knobs and select various pieces, and it will update. It will update the demo above. Now, the other thing I added to it this week is that in our stuff, if the thing that you're selecting is an icon or an icon picker, the knobs for Storybook now point to icons that are available in our library, so that you don't have to know the text of it to be able to play around with this. You can just, pick the icon that you need. So what that actually looks like under the hood. So here's my accent card. And I'll pull the accent card itself up. So accent card has all of these neat properties, but it also has the ability to really dig under the hood with CSS variables. And as you can see, these are a lot of variables to pipe in as knobs. So to make everything easier when I'm making these little Storybook entries, I created this Storybook Utilities piece that has a lot of the things that I might want to use when I'm adding a story for a new element. And one of the easiest ways to do it, because I do it in a scaffolded way, is to just say, hey, if I give you this element class, just look at what it's got and build the knobs for it. And then I don't have to specify things. And the way that I try to build these with this scaffold is I try to create one way of doing things that solves about 80 to 85% of the problems, which would be this make element from class. And then add some other ways that you can do it with more and more customization that might take a few more steps. So make element from class allows me to pipe in the element name. I can, and it's going to get the knobs from the properties. If the item has HAX properties, which are better defined data types, it will go from the HAX properties. If not, it falls back to the default properties in the element. It allows you to add some optional default values for when it first loads. And you can exclude some things that don't belong as knobs. So, you know, maybe something's a protected value or a computed value, or it doesn't make sense in our knobs demo. I can put them into that array, the name of the properties or slots. And then the last piece is this additions piece. And this allows me to add anything that wasn't already spelled out in the properties or HAX properties. And that's where I'm dumping the CSS variables right now. So this make element from class is going to make the element. So here I have make element from class. Accent card is the name of the accent card. It's going to grab the tag of the accent card. It'll grab all the properties. Here are my default values. And within that utilities script that I made, there's the ability to generate random values if you want. So I have different random values from data types. And for CSS variables, all I have to do is give the CSS property, the title, and then what the input method is for the CSS variables. And those are the additions that I've added. And through the magic of these utilities and all of the data that, let me show you the HAX properties. All of the data that HAX properties gives us. I'm able to just wire up these stories pretty quickly rather than making them a development project of their own.
Thank you so much. That's awesome.
Thanks.
Yeah, so you're able to just hit the hack schema directly then with that,
yep.
Right?
Yep, I hit the hack schema. If there's not a hack schema, I hit properties. And if you want to add anything else, you can just define those in the additions parameter that you can pass to it. So it's a scaffold. And actually, if you don't want it to automatically create the element, because maybe you want to do some extra stuff, there's one called make element where you literally hand it the knobs and the properties so that you can, you know, bypass any of the hacks stuff or the regular properties. Because again, scaffold.
Yeah.
Solve 80%. A little bit more difficult to do the special cases, and we have a couple of special cases out there.
Yeah, well, and there's going to inevitably be things that pop up that Storybook has as requirements that we don't in the way Hacks works. Like we're just not going to give users those options. So
yeah, and I was really happy that it all ended up working out the way that it did, because I want to be able to demo this stuff and get this up there, because part of the beauty of us having the CDN is it would be nice to be able to show people what all is in there and what they can do with this stuff. Especially now that it works in Evo and could in Canvas if somebody puts those 2 lines in there.
Now, do you think there's a way, have you looked at building the Storybook off of our mono repo at all? Because it would be really cool if the unbundled builds repo was the space that the Storybook stuff also happened, and then we could, as part of the build routine, compile it and ship it as well.
That would be a good thing to explore.
Because I would love if you could go to like cdn.webcomponents.psu.edu and it just redirects you to, hey, here's the things that are available and how to use them, and we could easily I missed.
I guess we could add like a script that sort of does that
Yeah.
as you're bundling. Like if we did, if we added that as an and to our build script.
I am gonna make an issue about that. I've never thought about doing that before, so
that would be pretty cool. Yeah. So Storybook's not a perfect. Like one of the issues I'm having is the old version of Storybook. I knew how to get like demo files, make sure that they were packaged with everything, and some of the dynamic imports. Every once in a while, I get one that's a little funky, and I've solved most of the dynamic import stuff. The piece that really would be nice is that I miss being able to bundle up images or video source files so that I don't run into cross-scripting bullshit.
And so, you're saying you can't do that, or?
I can't right now in the new way they're doing the Storybook settings. I really have to take some time and dig into those to figure it out. Because I used to be able to, when it was all Webpack based, I would be able to grab that file loader and then do import star as whatever for the image. But now I
do you know if they switched to rollup?
They did, so I don't know how to do it in rollup because I spent all that time knowing Webpack. Damn it!
Okay, so
more than I really want to know.
Andrew, didn't we solve this problem?
Oh, Andrew, you're my best friend, and you owe me for my time anyway.
I do. I think we did solve it, but I don't think that I could adequately explain it.
Well,
it's the only problem.
Well, what
oh,
file
Brian,
is
you're
it
my
in?
new best friend.
Yeah, what file is it in? Because it's on GitHub, right?
Yeah, it should be.
I'm gonna write this shit down.
Well, you don't have to write it down. We can just switch over to it, and you can see it.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Just switch over to it. Well,
it's
I need to be able to remember this for later, unless you want me to just like open a tab and leave it open, which I'm, not above.
That's what I do all the time.
Yeah, tab hoarder.
Yeah, because it's in. I think it's somewhere in TEI render. I feel like we had to do that at one point.
I'm gonna go ahead and stop share so you can
see if
you can show me this thing. I need to know how to do this because I want to be able to put the Alley Media Player up, and the whole core stuff really screws that up.
Yeah. Well, and I know we had to add it in as part of the way that Andrew's doing the build routine because
the CSS.
Because the CSS that we inject into it. So I'm not. There is a way to do it. I can't remember the name of the plugin. It's something very simple, though.
Yeah, I know. Like, I remember that Webpack had one, but I mean, I could search rollup plugin for files. Yeah, because I need that for, it's nice to have some demo images. Right now I'm just pulling random stuff from the generators, but it would be nice to have some like stock pieces.
For sure. Potter, are you queued up? You ready to go with your thing? Well, me and Andrew are both looking through files for a random thing to be a dead air.
Dead air.
Is it rollup plugin copy?
That's
what?
That sounds like it. Yeah. Yep.
Oh, damn it. You guys are my friends. My very, very best friends. Thank you.
Roll up plugin copy, and then
without an O, I think.
Then
that's just in the no, it is.
Then you can do a file glob, right? So in the plugins, then you have copy, targets, and you can say like this. So then you'll be able to pull your assets along.
Nice.
Sweet. All right.